The format of this meeting is a 10-minute speaker, a 10-minute coffee break, and then a main speaker. Tonight, our first speaker is Shoshana.
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year. I'm Shoshana. I'm an alcoholic. I just got asked to speak about an hour ago, and I kind of chuckled because in my mind, I'd never really seen anybody speak that didn't have over a year or a long amount of time, and I was like, man, I only have like 70-something days, and that's the truth. So I got nervous, and I was like, no, I can't do that. And the person asking me to speak is the person that will be your main speaker tonight, and he has over 30 years sober. So I said, okay, I'll take direction. And then I sat and talked with him, and I spoke with my sponsor, and they reminded me that there's people in this room with less time than me. Whether it's a day, whether you have one day, it's your first day, 10 days, 30 days, I'm going to tell you something that might be able to convince you to stay a little bit longer, because at the first 30 days for me were really hard, and I've done this a few times over, and 30 days is always really, really brutal. And if you can at least get to 77 days, then maybe by that time you'll feel like I feel right now, where I can see the next 30 days or the next hour or whatever it is you need to feel. And that also goes for old-timers. Sometimes, in their words, they get stale, they get bored hearing the same things over and over, and sometimes they need to be reminded of what it is to start and come right in. So the reason I've been able to make it this far, and the reason I have the grace of God helping me to be able to continue on, is because I've been taking direction. So I'll keep it short. What happened, what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. I started really young. I had my first drink when I was about 10 years old. Before that, at 8 years old, I was handed to doctors with some troubles in school, so they put me on Adderall, told me I was defective, had problems learning, like, take this pill. Later that turned into depression, to other things, and 10 years old, I was doped up on all sorts of things from doctors. And the message that I was getting from teachers, from my family, from everybody, was that something's wrong with you, and you just need to take this. There was no looking into the deeper problems. There was no looking into the dysfunctional household I was living in, none of the abuse, absolutely none of it. It was just, take this, you'll be fine. I come from an Orthodox Jewish family, a very traditional one, and alcohol is a big thing in Judaism. We drink every Friday and on most holidays, except for one. And there's a lot of holidays. So, me and my friends from synagogue and from my Jewish school started drinking really, really cheap kosher wine. And I remember my first blackout. I was 11 years old, and I loved it. I got expelled from 8th grade at age 14 for coming to school wasted. So if that wasn't a sign by then, I don't know. But I kept going. Xanax came on board, given by the doctors. I had social anxiety. So I had all these things that were being handed to me that I was told it was okay because it was part of religion. It was told that, like, I had something wrong with me and this would help me. So, I started to go through high school, and I didn't understand that other people didn't function like that, and I didn't really talk about it, so I just kind of kept it to myself. I would be getting drunk at school. I'd maybe share a water bottle full of vodka with other friends. And I really had a hard time socializing when I wasn't under the influence. My family, my dad was addicted to pain pills till I was 16, so I stole a lot of those from him. He had hip problems. He says, I'm clean X amount of time, and I support him in it. He doesn't come to meetings. He doesn't really identify as an addict. I don't think he is one of us. He thinks he had the physical dependence due to pain, and once his surgery happened, he was able to get off them, but they did cause him and our family a lot of pain in our life, and I did get to watch the way somebody who is addicted to a substance function. My mother's extremely mentally ill, and was also addicted to a lot of substances to help her get through that. So I never was getting any messages that sobriety was the key to anything. I left my house at 15. I went on my own. I figured shit out. I got addicted to money and various hustles, which kept me around people that kept me around bad things and bad places. But I was also the life of the party. I was sociable. I was a cheerleader in high school, like big, like competition-winning team, but like didn't like the people I was around. I never fit in with anybody at all. Something was always different, so I continued to like stuff in them. And years down the line, I woke up here in Prescott 9 years ago after I had joined the military in Israel, and then got dragged out after a 2-month blackout before going into my unit after basic training because I was drunk and on Ambien screaming in the back of a speech by the Prime Minister. I woke up in Tucson, and they sent me to Prescott. That was my first treatment. The first time I had really heard about addiction, that I was one of them, that there's these rooms. And then someone told me about heroin, and I was like, neat, gotta try that before I get sober. So, went that road. And, the last time I did, so I spent a lot of years with IV heroin and meth, and the last time I did that was 6.5 years ago. I had a near-death experience and woke back up and thought I had been cured and said, I don't need all those AA people. I don't need community. I don't need any of that. I got this, I'm revived. So I went on my own, and I was like, I'm just going to drink. But a drug is a drug is a drug, and I'm an alcoholic. And I did okay for a few years until life started to throw me a couple curveballs. The big one that started to tip that was my brother had passed away. He was also in the program, but he was sober when he passed away. He had drowned swimming with his friends after like really beating this disease. And I just was like, well, I'm just going to drink more and maybe do some other drugs. And that was the tipping scale. And I didn't have community. I didn't have anybody else to talk to. I was just at another meeting before this, and we were talking about unity and community and why that was so important. Because over the next couple years, I experienced a lot more trauma as life throws us, and a lot more deaths and a lot more grieving. And I didn't have any tools to cope with it, because just because I was sober for chunks of time didn't mean that I was actually doing anything for myself, didn't mean that I was healing at all. So I pretty much I started a really cool life for myself. I was traveling internationally. I've been painting murals all over the world. I've been blogging and sharing really cool experiences and started to build my art career. And then I wasn't paying attention, and drugs and alcohol just crept up beneath me and took all of that away in the matter of 3 weeks. I showed back up here in Prescott. This is the third time I've woken back up in Arizona in a blackout to get help. I was blessed with the gift of desperation. I was blessed that a few years ago I started to have a conscious contact with my higher power after really shutting it out for a long time due to my religious upbringing. And I came crawling back to these rooms, and I fought every bit of first getting into treatment. And I gotta tell you what happened was I was up in Portland, Oregon, that's where I'm from, trying desperately to get into detox for about 3 weeks. Finally, it came out to everyone that thought I had been clean sober for 6.5 years, that all of a sudden something was up and I was out of control and I needed help. You guys, I had been in the hospital multiple times earlier this year. I was sick. I got MRSA again. The antibiotics that they gave me gastritis and esophageal ulcer, and I couldn't even drink water. It was the universe telling me, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I listened. I've spent a lot of my life not listening. So I was waiting to get into detox. I couldn't get into the meetings to get me onto the state insurance to get me into the detoxes. I was too messed up. And I was in the hospital in psych. I had burned every bridge. I had ruined a lot of opportunities. I had lost the job I had had for 6.5 years. And I had a woman answer the phone at the other end that loves me a lot. And I said, hey, I need your help. I need treatment. She's like, well, get down here. I said, I don't have any money and I don't have any insurance. She says, I'm not asking you for that. Get on the plane. And that was really hard for me to accept that there was somebody that loved me enough that just wanted me to get better. But I got on a plane, and I'm here. And 77 days later, I've fought it tooth and nail every bit of the way. And what I'm doing right now that's working, that I've never done before, is I have a sponsor that I have an extremely close relationship with. I have a home group. I have a service commitment. And I'm thoroughly working steps. And the reason I'm really pointing this out is I had a year and 6 days once. I didn't work any program after 6 months. It was completely dry. It was miserable. It was painful. I wanted to die every minute of it. I feel pretty good right now. Kind of. It's hard, but I feel a lot of weight has come off of me. It's continuing to come off of me. I'm in the middle of an extremely rigorous fifth step that's taking us 3 weeks that just has to, because there's stuff on there that just needs to be worked on. And in the past, I got a sponsor, was like, let's bang out 1, 2, 3. Let's just quickly get past it. I want to get to the juicy stuff. Also, I don't want to tell you all the truth. And that just didn't work. It didn't work. It put me out every single time. I heard something in a meeting the other week that I really liked. That was step 1, 2, and 3 are like a waltz you have to do every day, and it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I loved that, and I've been thinking about it because that's also what's been saving me. Is I do have a conscious contact with a higher power, and I rejected so many different words that related to that for a long time, and I finally stopped fighting, and I've been surrendering. So I'm trying to listen to the signs. I'm supposed to have died a lot of times. And I'm still here. I had an ulcer in my stomach, and I was still trying to chug vodka. Right now I'm here taking care of myself. I'm taking direction. I'm being obedient, which is a thing. Which is a really big thing. I don't like being told what to do, and if you tell me to do something, I usually want to do the opposite and let you know I'm doing the opposite. So the fact that I've been able to sit through everything that I don't want to do right now and do it, and there's this part of me that just is continuing to surrender every day to be here, that's God for me, honestly. I don't have another answer. And I used to get resentful at people that said that because I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. But, yeah, Happy New Year's, you guys. That's all I got. Thanks.